Hello. Okay, this is the fourth video and honestly probably going to be the shortest video because I have some little additional videos that tag onto this one that are in your website as well. So again, we're in the same page, just scrolling down the portfolio in the second brain. So for this video, um, I'm going to show you how I use the IDEA and TA definitions to determine eligibility through AI-assisted yes or no questions. I never want AI to make the determination, but I do want it to help me organize the information and identify patterns. I'm going to show you the 4 focused eligibility question sets that I have. They're here on this page. And then how to organize your complete prompt library with reusable categories. Again, you should have a sense of that now based on how it's structured, but you should be kind of keeping everything in the background divided by different sections. And then for the cognitive and achievement, like what kinds of prompts do you use? And then adding anything that helps you determine eligibility. Again, you make the determination at the end. And then how I curate my Notebook LM and possible suggestions for how you could potentially curate your Notebook LM to become kind of your second brain so that you interact with it, learn new things, kind of keep up to date with all the changes that happen. And then kind of just establishing a system for how everything evolves with a new case. Okay, so kind of this is what I mean. These questions are based on the definitions from TEA. You can adjust these if you feel like it's not exactly what you want. You just go to TEA, find the the definition, sorry. So like specific learning disability, definition in TEA, and then it'll pull it up for you. And then what you want to do is you want to grab that information, what the TEA definition is, and then you could tell ChatGPT, which I'm about to show you here. I'm going to say questions based on this information. And then you paste the definition in there, and it's going to give you the questions. Okay. So you could grab these and literally go into your chat where okay, this is already the chat. I'm already here. Hang on a second. Let me just. And I'm going to say, answer these questions based on this student's data. Okay. Now, just so you know, while we weren't together, I added some Wyatt scores and some CTOP scores so that it had that information to pull from, okay? There are those questions, and I'm going to say, answer these questions with the student's data. I'm going to let it roll. Okay, see how it's answering? Yes. Yeah. And this is what helps me then to write my paragraph about the determination. So if I agree with this, I would say, yes, I agree with this. Write a paragraph of eligibility stating that the student does meet criteria for a specific learning disability in the area of dyslexia. It is primarily affecting their basic reading skills and secondarily affecting their reading fluency and reading comprehension. Write it so that it's legally defensible. Again, if you like that prompt, save it. Read that, make sure the language is correct for you. Okay, so chat is pretty good about this. Based on this, then you say, write a paragraph including data that would be an impact statement for this student? Again, that's looking pretty good. You make sure you read that carefully and then say, give a needs statement for this disability. See? Okay, so that is how I use it, but I read through all the data, all the questions. I make sure that I agree, because AI is what we call sycophantic, which means it wants to agree with you. So you really need to be reading carefully and making sure you agree, and push back when you don't agree. Okay, Gemini has those questions there already. Okay, so I'm going to, I just pasted the same questions from chat. Yep, I understand that. Okay, so again, it's organizing the information. Similarly, if you agree, you would say that you agree. Or if you disagree, you could say you disagree and have it kind of come back. And then prompt it to write the paragraph of disability. Okay. I agree with all of this. Help me draft a paragraph that states that the student does meet criteria for eligibility as a student with a specific learning disability in the state of Texas. For dyslexia that is primarily affecting their basic reading skills and secondarily affecting their reading fluency and reading comprehension. Yep, this is saying for informational purposes only, which means it's just warning you to make sure you use your professional judgment. Okay. Write a data-driven impact statement about how dyslexia is affecting the student. It's even including the home for this one. I like that. You could have it shorten this if you want. Now we need a needs. Oh, now write a needs statement for specialized instruction. Okay. All right. Now let's come over to Copilot. I did not copy the questions, so give me a second to grab the questions. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Remember, I've given all of them some Y and some C-top scores as well. Convergence of data. Okay, so here it's not like so much answering the questions. I'm going to say, do not determination. Just answer. Let me make sure I gave it the questions and not something else. I believe I did. Yep, that's more what I want. That's easy enough for me to kind of look through and make sure that I agree. I agree that this student meets the criteria for a student that is eligible to receive services for dyslexia, affecting primarily their basic reading skills and secondarily affecting their reading fluency and reading comprehension skills. Write the paragraph for me, please. It's giving me bullets. I could read those over. Okay. Now let's write a legally defensible paragraph for an FIE. Paragraph. Oh, it wants the, okay. Criteria for that. Okay. And once it's done that and you agree, it's a little bit longer than I would want, so I would probably summarize that one. Write a data-driven impact statement about how dyslexia is affecting them. Okay, so again, maybe we summarize, it's a bit long. Write a needs paragraph that shows why the student needs specialized instruction. And I cut it off and it's still understanding. So again, I would summarize those for the most part, but overall, that is how I use the questions from the definitions to come up with my eligibility paragraph. Okay, the next thing is your portfolio, which hopefully you've been able to keep kind of, you need to be adding prompts and then maybe creating some custom instructions for different GEMs or agents or GPTs. And your Google Sheet is a good place to start with that. Your Notebook LM, there is a separate video with a little bit more information about your Notebook LM, but these are some suggested uses for Notebook LM. So assessment batteries is what we showed in the last video. The TEA definitions and eligibility criteria. So you can load in Gemini. Let me show you here. I'm going to share this tab instead. So you can load, like this is a good example for everyone. This one is my SLD and dyslexia identification in Texas, but see, I have PDFs. I have some websites. I don't have any text that I copied here, but you can always add these types of sources. So a website, it can be uploaded files like PDFs. It can be a website. It can be something that was shared to you in a Google Drive. I know Dr. Schultz likes to share a lot of documents in Google Drive. You can copy text from certain, like your CSET manual or whatever you feel like would be beneficial for you in Notebook LM. And this, again, just holds all your information, and it only, when you ask it questions, it only answers based on those sources. So like I can say, and this one doesn't allow me to speak yet. So what are the exclusionary factors for students? And it's only going to pull from these sources. Okay, so it's kind of going through the information. So there it's going to answer. These little numbers are like where it's finding that information. So it's giving you the source so that you know that this information is accurate. Okay. But this is what I love about Notebook LM and how it's a second brain for you, because you might not be able to hold that information right now, but you have the question and you're like, wait a second, let me ask my notebook. The other cool thing is, like, when there are updates about, like we normally at the beginning of the year will get like a back to school update. I can unclick all the sources. This is how I click them all. This is how I unclick them all. And then I just want this one. I can make it create an audio version of it, or if there had been like changes and you have the document that shows that there are changes, you can create an audio version of it. So like here's one that I've created. It's a podcast.
Imagine handing over a blank check to a school district and, just hoping they somehow build the perfect architectural blueprint for your child's brain.
Right, which is terrifying.
Exactly. I mean, for decades, navigating the special education system has felt exactly like that for a lot of Texas parents. And honestly, even for the educators trying to work within it.
Oh, absolutely. It is like operating completely in the dark.
Yeah, you're dealing with unwritten rules, vague timelines, and these totally arbitrary labels. But a massive, comprehensive 2024 rule change just flipped that dynamic entirely on its head. Today, we are taking you through a stack of sources that fundamentally rewire the educational landscape.
Okay, so you can see, like, if you're a listener, if you like to listen, like while you exercise or do chores or whatever, that would be a great way to take in some of that information. Those all populate down here. So you can, create like video.
All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle something really important, the official Texas Guide for Identifying Specific Learning Disabilities. My goal here is to just break this whole thing down and give parents and educators a super clear, step-by-step roadmap to follow. So why is this such a big deal? Well, let's start with this number right here. In Texas, a specific learning disability, or SLD, is not some rare thing. It actually makes up about a third of all students who get special education.
Okay, so again, there's so many options for this to hold all of your information that you can't hold in your brain. So that's why you create a second brain. I have given you in your website page a list of potential things that you might want to include in your Notebook LM. You do need to keep it current. So like if you link a website, the chances are when it updates, it will update probably, right? But if you're linking a PDF, you need to be kind of aware of what that looks like because you may not have the most recent information about that. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is build a template. Run all your prompts. You know, if you liked how it was at giving the output, like we ran through a whole FIE. If you liked that, and it's about a fake student, keep a template of it. Consider making a template just for reads. And I've shared a video that you have after week 4. There's a video on how I do that as well. Okay, you can save them as Google Docs, as Word docs, whatever. After each case, like kind of run through and be like, what worked in my prompts? What didn't work? Make notes. Like updating your workflow notes will give you that final portfolio with the prompt library that you need, the template shells that you need. And I would, again, for me, I'm shifting all of my work right now. I was in ChatGPT, and then last year I was in Copilot. And I think this year I'm actually going to move to Gems in Google. I've really liked how that interface is writing for me now. So decide which one you're going to use. You don't need to move through all 3 the way I did, but create those portfolios that you can refer back to and also like evolve with them, like give it feedback, change, update your brain, your structure, like if you change the way you're thinking about your evaluations. And remember, AI can help you make those custom instructions. You don't have to start from scratch. Use the templates. Tell it to use TEA, create one for developmental delay, create one for intellectual disability. All of those can become gems that AI helps you to customize with custom instructions. You just have to make sure that you're reading over them to make sure that they make sense based on TEA. Anyway, I hope that this has been a useful series of videos for you. Remember, I am always available in email throughout any of this time that you are using this. None of these videos should expire anytime soon. Should that change, I will definitely let you know. My email is everywhere, but rita@comprehensiveacademicpartners.com. Thank you again for your trust. And if you found this valuable, please share. I appreciate it.